Although cats and dogs don't always mix, apparently dogs and samurai do. This story has shown us all what life can be like for those who were judged just for being different than their peers. We were also able to see how great it can be for them to prove all of their doubters wrong. With the wide range of personalities in this film, from friends to enemies, we thought it would be a good idea to rank the characters based on morality. I'm Kyle with Wicked Binge, and this is Paws of Fury, the Legend of Hank characters, good to evil. And also, spoilers ahead. As usual, we'll be starting with the most pure and noble characters and working our way down to the most evil. These characters are the good. Starting out with our gold medal of good, we have the young but courageous Emiko. Emiko has a lot of pride and honor in her village, so much so that she appears to be the only person that is brave enough to stand up for it. She tries to defend Kakamuchu on her own during both the Cat Bandit raid and the attack from Sumo. On top of being fearless, Emiko is also clever. This is demonstrated by the fact that it was her idea to request a new samurai from the shogun. Because of this, she initially saves Hank's life from her angry peers and puts a lot of trust in him and his abilities. Through her inspiration, Emiko becomes the reason Hank chooses to continue fighting for her village. She even makes an origami version of Hank in order for him to never forget who he is. She is initially the only person who believes in Hank, and in return, she receives the same respect from him. During the flood, she notably jumps in the water in an act to save her friends, adding another heroic deed to her list. This, on top of all of her actions, makes her more than deserving of being named Kakamuchu's new samurai. Next, our silver medal of good has to go to the movie's protagonist, Hank. Being an only dog in a land full of cats can't be easy for anyone, especially when they all hate you. Hank had a difficult time before his success. He was bullied as a child, a prisoner, and was attempted to be killed by many cats. Despite this, Hank still chooses to defend Kakamuchu and become the best samurai he can be. His main goal is to help others like himself, those who are picked on and are not always able to stand up for themselves. He endures Jimbo's intense training, which eventually pays off in his favor. However, although he is usually a hard worker who is willing to do what it takes to protect everyone, he did go back on his word with Jimbo to train so he could go clubbing with Ikachu instead. Much of this was due to his pride after he thought he had defeated Sumo on his own, when in reality, it was Jimbo who mainly defeated Sumo with the use of edamame. This decision to go clubbing proved to be a fatal mistake, as Kakamuchu ended up being raided while he was gone. However, after letting everyone down, he decides to return and help Jimbo free Sumo from his imprisonment. When Jimbo got caught up in a fight, Hank refused to leave him behind, only for Sumo to pull him away. In the end, Hank ended up coming up with the idea to build a fake village out of a paper to distract Ikachu's ambush. He also formulated the plan of digging up a moat to trap the water during the flood. Following his plan's success, he demonstrates selflessness by giving up his newly given samurai position to Emiko. The bronze medal of good goes to Hank's teacher and mentor, Jimbo. Although he was reluctant to help out Hank at first, even pushing Hank into a fight to get beat up on his own, Jimbo eventually sticks to his samurai oath and trains Hank to be the best defender that he can. After all, Jimbo saving Hank from bullies was the main reason that Hank wanted to become a samurai in the first place. We will cut Jimbo some slack on his aversion from his samurai days, since he became distraught for accidentally ruining Toshi's birthday party and hurting his in-laws. He eventually makes a complete turnaround, defeating Sumo with edamame, but letting Hank keep the credit for it. After Hank's newfound success got to his head, Jimbo tried to save Sumo from prison on his own, and eventually risks his own life so Hank and Sumo can escape. Jimbo later heroically saves Hank's life and is proud of everything that his apprentice has accomplished. He even gives up his new samurai position to Hank, who he is proud to call his new friend.
What the mother-father cocker-spaniel's going on here?
Moving on to the small but impactful Shogun Toshi. After receiving a request from Kakamuchu for a new samurai since their old one ran away, he immediately appointed a new one to them. No questions asked. He's clearly strongly against Ikachu's plans of destroying Kakamuchu and is willing to nominate whoever is most deserving of becoming their new samurai. He goes from Jimbo to Hank, and finally Emiko, even giving them a new sword without questioning their abilities. He also has no hard feelings toward Jimbo for accidentally ruining his birthday party many years ago. And rounding out our good section is Sumo. Despite punching several horses and terrorizing an entire village, there's a lot more to this massive beast than meets the eye. After being defeated for the first time, Sumo puts a lot of faith and trust into Hank and Jimbo, even risking his life for them. Sumo helped Kakamucho immensely by digging a majority of the moat to prevent the massive flood from destroying the village. We like to think his past destructive self was mainly due to following orders from his evil superiors, and that he truly only wanted a friend. But with the good section wrapped up, we now reach the neutral territory. These characters fall in the gray area. Ichiro is first in this category. There isn't a whole lot to say about Ichiro other than his common hatred for dogs and inability to listen to full directions before firing a weapon. Despite this, he does go out of his way to thank Hank since he thought Hank defeated Sumo, which takes a lot of respect even if it was in private. Oga, Ikachu's assistant, lands next on our list. Oga works for the worst cat in town, to whom he clearly looks up to. However, it is apparent that Oga seems to be too clueless to truly understand how evil Ikachu really is. That said, he does offer to beat up everyone in Kakamucho, and doesn't ever make a big enough effort to try and stop Ikachu, which does bring him down a few points. We're hoping that Oga can change his ways and use his strength for the greater good instead. And rounding out our gray category is Chuck. Chuck is obnoxious and seems to yearn for glory over anything else. He first takes Emiko's credit for requesting a new samurai from the shogun, allowing everyone to praise him for such a great idea. When Hank came to Kakamucho as the new samurai, Chuck told his whole village to kill him just because he is a dog. That said, Chuck eventually comes to his senses and learns to thank and respect Hank. Finally, with our gray area out of the way, we get to the dark side. These characters are the bad and evil. And really, it comes down to one single character. The gold medal of evil definitely goes to Ikachu. Ikachu is the definition of evil and selfish, as his main goal is to get rid of Kakamucho for the sake of keeping his village perfect with a better view. He does whatever he can to be the successor to the shogun, even if it means putting others in danger. He has no problem with killing dogs or keeping them prisoners, and is even okay with killing other cats for messing up his sculptures. Ikachu's whole reasoning for appointing Hank as the new Kakamucho samurai was so that Hank would be killed by the cats that live there. In their final duel, he tries to kill Hank again, this time on his own. Of course, he fails and is unable to be saved by his assistant, Oga. Overall, Ikachu is the movie's real villain and easily earns his spot as the most evil character. And with our morality spectrum complete, let's wrap things up with our sinner medals. The Darwin medal has to go to Oga for his lack of awareness of Ikachu's evil actions and deeds. The Pride medal goes to Hank, who let his head get too big when he thought he defeated Sumo on his own. The Sloth medal goes to Jimbo, who was reluctant to help train Hank to become a better samurai when Hank first asked. And finally, the Wrath medal goes to Ikachu for hurting others and inflicting violence just to get what he wants. But let us know in the comments section if you agree with our ranking, and tell us what we should cover next. Make sure to hit that notification bell and binge our Good to Evil playlist, where we break down the morality of the characters in your favorite cartoons, shows, and movies. But most importantly, stay wicked.